Dynamic partitioning in Hive. Keep in mind that by default, dynamic partitioning is disabled in Hive to prevent accidental partition creation. To use dynamic partitioning, you need to enable it by using these settings. Here we see set hive.exec.dynamic.partition equals true. Then we say set hive.exec.dynamic.partition.mode equals non-strict. This allows us to use dynamic partitions. Now that you've learned about the two modes of data insertion into partition tables, let's take a look at some of the commands that are used to support Hive partition tables, which lets you view and delete partitions. You can view the partitions of a partition table by simply using the show command. So in this case, access Hive and then show partitions, in this case, accounts. Delete the partition. To delete the partitions, you simply can drop them using the alter command as shown in the image. By using the alter command, you can also add or even change partitions. When to use partitioning. Following are the instances when you need to use partitioning for tables. First, if your reads and queries are taking too long, reading the entire dataset may indicate you want to use some partitions. Also, queries will almost always filter on the partition columns. If you have a large number of queries that are filtering a specific column, you may want to add a partition for that column. And last, there are a reasonable number of different values for partition columns. If you're going to use partitioning, you typically don't want just two values. You may want several to increase the performance of your queries. So when is not a reason to use partitioning? Well, here are some instances when you should avoid using a partition. 1. Avoid partitioning on columns that have too many unique rows. You'll end up with way too many partitions. Also, be cautious while creating dynamic partitions, as it can lead to a very high number of partitions if, for example, you create a new partition for every zip code in the US. Also, try to limit partitions to less than 20K in size.